Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambeau channel. Ripple's high-powered connections run deep, and the New York Times has caught wind of this. In fact, they just published a story titled, "As Scrutiny of Cryptocurrency Grows, the Industry Turns to K Street." Now, I will acknowledge I didn't know what the hell K Street was. I just was not familiar with that name. And so I had to look it up, and here you can see K Street refers to the area in downtown Washington, D.C., where many lobbyists, lawyers, and advocacy groups have their offices. And then right here, it's become a term to refer to the lobbying industry as a whole. And so I want to run through this article because it's astonishing. Like, first of all, the degree to which lobbying actually matters, whether you like that or not, it does matter. And I understand why some people could think that it's sleazy, this or that. I'm not so much going to talk about that concept in this video, but if you want to get stuff done, you need lobbyists. And Ripple actually has spent the most money on lobbying out of any company in the world of crypto and blockchain. And I do mean that literally. But even they didn't spend that much. And if you want to get stuff done, frankly, you need to. So I want to talk about that also. But it's just amazing how big of the truly global story this whole SEC versus Ripple thing has become, and the implications for what happens moving forward for the crypto asset class in the United States. It's just tremendous here. But I do want to be clear at the outset here. I don't have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who makes YouTube videos as a fun hobby about Ripple and XRP and crypto, and that's all that's going on here. So let's jump into this now. When federal regulators last year accused one of the world's most popular cryptocurrency platforms of illegally selling $1.38 billion worth of digital money to investors, it was a pivotal moment in efforts to crack down on a fast-growing market and in the still nascent industry's willingness to dive deeply into the Washington influence game. The company, Ripple Labs, has enlisted lobbyists, lawyers, and other well-connected advocates to make its case to the Securities and Exchange Commission and beyond in one of the first legal battles over what limits and requirements the government should set for trading and using digital currency. Ripple has hired 2 lobbying firms in the past 3 months. It has retained a consulting firm staffed with a former aide to both Hillary Clinton and former President Donald Trump to help it develop strategy in Washington and to defend itself against the SEC. It hired Mary Jo White, a former chairwoman of the commission during the Obama administration. So guys, you can already see right here, and you know this, and that's not the only lawyer. By the way, there's also Andrew Seresny, I believe I'm saying the name right, Andrew Seresny, one of Ripple's attorneys, also formerly with the SEC, who says that the SEC is just wrong on the facts. And so those are some heavy hitters right there. There's tons of them. And so their connections, they really do run deep. But in terms of what's really going to make the biggest difference, I would still argue that there's ground to be made just through lobbying, frankly, which I'll illustrate more as this video goes on. But the piece continues now. Ripple is just one of the long list of cryptocurrency companies scrambling for influence in Washington as the Biden administration begins setting policy that could shape the course of a potentially revolutionary industry that is rapidly moving into the mainstream and drawing intensifying attention from financial regulators, law enforcement officials, and lawmakers. There is a tectonic shift underway, Perianne Boring, the president of the Chamber of Digital Commerce, a cryptocurrency lobbying group, told other industry lobbyists, executives, and 2 House lawmakers who serve as industry champions during a virtual gathering last month. If we don't start planning and taking action soon, we have everything to risk. So far, cryptocurrency has been a highly volatile investment, but it is already starting to alter the way individuals, companies, and even some central banks do business. Firms like Ripple, which is based in San Francisco, run cryptocurrency platforms that allow customers to make nearly instant global payments through a system that operates largely outside government monetary networks. Now, that fact, I would actually dispute that it only in part does. If you're talking about broadly what RippleNet does, I mean, RippleNet itself, it's proprietary software. The portion, and it's still not even outside, government monetary networks, or at least not from a regulatory perspective. If you're talking about the endpoints of global corridors for on-demand liquidity utilizing XRP as a bridge currency, those are absolutely regulated in the same way that corridors not utilizing XRP for settlement are regulated. You still have the same KYC and AML requirements. So KYC is know your customer, and then AML anti money laundering. It's like all of that. It's actually still in place. So that I actually would dispute. A fine detail, but an important one. Anyway, it continues here. Globally, the value of all outstanding cryptocurrency has jumped to about $2.4 trillion, or more than approximately $1.2 trillion of United States currency in circulation worldwide, from about $200 billion 2 years ago. This is from an industry that was born only a dozen years ago when the first cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, was introduced. As the stakes have grown, so has the recognition that the industry's future, at least in the United States, will be shaped in Washington, prompting the rush to scoop up well-connected advocates. The board of advisors at the Digital Chamber is stuffed with former federal regulators, including a former member of Congress and a recent chairman of the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, J. Christopher Giancarlo, who was named to the board of BlockFi, a financial services company that tries to link cryptocurrencies with traditional wealth managers. Max Baucus, the Democratic former chairman of the Senate Finance Committee, and Jim Messina, a former top Obama advisor, also have recently been named to senior industry posts. Now, lobbying disclosure records show that at least 65 contracts as of early 2021 addressed industry matters such as digital currency, cryptocurrency, or blockchain, up from about 20 in 2019. Some of the biggest spenders on lobbying include Ripple, Coinbase, which is the largest cryptocurrency exchange in the United States, and trade groups like the Blockchain Association. And so actually, let me show you some numbers here now for the fun of it. Let me jump ahead a little bit. There was this article from January 25th this year. Ripple ran crypto's most expensive lobbying program in 2020. And I don't want to go through the article itself, but I did want to highlight that Ripple spent $690,000 on lobbying in the United States in 2020. And so that's the most out of any company in blockchain or crypto. And I don't know if that sounds like a lot or a little to you, but I can tell you in the scheme of things, it might as well be zero. Not literally, of course, but it might as well be pretty damn low. In fact, take a look at this. This is from a website called Statista, and it shows leading lobbying industries in the United States in 2020 by total lobbying expenditure. So just to get you get your head wrapped around just how big a spending is in terms of lobbying by industry, the number one, and this isn't surprising now that you'll know it, right? I don't think anyway. Pharmaceuticals/health products, number one by a long shot at $306 million in 2020. And so I don't have the total number prepared for how much was spent in 2020 for the crypto asset class. But frankly, it doesn't matter. If you're talking about Ripple leading the charge, and they spent only $690,000, it's a drop in the bucket. It might as well be zero. It's not sufficient. And this is not a dig against Ripple. It's just a recognition, I think, that all participants engaging in crypto and blockchain, you need to head in this direction. You need to do better. Because we're sitting here rightfully bitching up a storm about what's happening with the SEC, I would say, and other regulatory bodies in the United States and the world over. But still, there's more that can be done here. And so the second place here it goes to electronics, manufacturing, and equipment, $156 billion. Insurance, $151. Did I say billion? I meant million if I said billion. $156 million. Insurance, $151 million. Real estate, $131 million. And so, who actually matters. And so, luckily, that's why I started the video by stating, look, Ripple does have some serious connections. And they're doing what they can to leverage them, I'm sure. I'm not privy to any special information, but it's pretty clear that these connections must come in handy. But still, it seems to me like lobbying is the way to go. And so then to take I got a quote here, actually, and I shared this back in January when I was talking about this topic last. There's a quote from Jeremy Hogan, attorney Jeremy Hogan, who runs the YouTube channel Legal Briefs, and he said some interesting things on this topic, and it was coming from experience, and I wanted to share that with you. Here's a quote from him. "Crypto is getting too large to ignore. Money has taken over the political process, so where are the crypto lobbyists and PACs? This is where the war will be won or lost. Mark my words. I've seen it happen with workers' compensation in California in the 2000s. I saw it with insurance laws here in Florida in the 2010s. The insurance lobby got laws changed and won the war even when they were losing the battles in court. So there you go. If you don't like the court outcome, just get the rules changed and you're all good. That's what it looks like, right? And so look, I'm not going to go through this whole New York Times piece. It's a fantastic piece here. If I could magically find, there's another spot maybe towards the end. Maybe I would highlight if I could magically spot it here. Otherwise, I'm not going to make you sit and wait while I fumble and bumble around here. It might have been the spot towards the end of it. Sorry, if you would bear with me just 1 second. I just want to make sure I don't skip something I was hoping to cover. I can probably jump in here, actually, now I'm thinking about it. I think this is the spot I was probably imagining. All right, so check this out. This is back to the New York Times piece now. The Ripple enforcement case brought by the SEC in December centers on whether a digital asset the company sold, called XRP, should be defined as a security or a commodity, a major distinction in terms of regulation. Ripple asserts that XRP is effectively a currency, and like any currency or commodity, can be bought and sold without SEC intervention. But the agency argues that each sale of XRP is like a stock or bond trade, meaning a buyer is effectively acquiring a stake in Ripple when purchasing the asset. As a result, the SEC argues that Ripple should have registered with the agency and provided extensive public disclosures like those required with stock or bond offerings. Ripple, which in 2019 became one of the first cryptocurrency companies to open a lobbying office in Washington, has aggressively pushed back, successfully asking a federal judge to force the SEC to turn over what the agency considers confidential internal documents. Stuart Alderoty, Ripple's general counsel, said that in the absence of clear cryptocurrency rules, the federal government was effectively creating regulatory policy via enforcement, an approach that is confusing and harmful to investors and the industry. If you have a responsible player in the industry, they are going to be engaging with policymakers, he said. The SEC case against Ripple has helped persuade industry players on the sidelines to get involved. Here's another quote. The industry needs to accept that good legislation and regulation is what is required, not no regulation, said John Deaton, a lawyer who has moved to intervene in the enforcement action against Ripple. And here's another quote. Because right now it is like the wild, wild west, and you have different federal agencies fighting over which one has jurisdiction. The House this month passed a bill backed by industry lobbyists to create a working group of federal regulators, industry executives, investor protection groups, and others to examine possible frameworks for a regulatory system. We need to get the big prize done. Representative Darren Soto, Democrat of Florida and a member of the Congressional Blockchain Caucus, a group of lawmakers working with the industry to help promote cryptocurrencies, told the industry conference last month, which is the statutes and jurisdiction and definitions to create that certainty to really let blockchain and cryptocurrency flow and improve in the United States. And so to me, that makes all the sense in the world, but my God, this is big. And it is super cool, too, to see John Deaton being highlighted in a New York Times piece. I mean, it kind of helps. I mean, I already knew, obviously, this is a huge case, but it's just another thing you can look and be like, yeah, this is gigantic. This is an absolutely colossal case. This is the biggest non-fraud case that the SEC has brought against anyone in decades. It is. And it's astonishing. So, like, the fallout from this, it's going to reverberate throughout not just the United States, but the entire world. Certainly most strongly in the United States, but it's going to affect everything. And it's going to change where innovation occurs, the economic output. There's so many factors here. And if the SEC has their way, the world will be worse for it. I firmly believe that. So I'll go ahead and wrap up there, but thank you very much for stopping by, my friends. I do appreciate the support. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.